Hello, my name is Seb and welcome to another Jump Inside Games video, and today we're going to be taking a look at 10 different games that would benefit from having a remaster. Also to add, some of these games I don't think are too bad, and others in the list, playable as they are, I feel like they should be remastered. Anyway, without no further ado, let's get on with the video. The first game on our list is the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and it's actually quite playable. Although it needs a fresh coat of paint, the reason why we're putting it right here at the beginning is because, as most fans know, there is a mod coming out called Oblivion in the works, which is hopefully meant to bring this game a bit more life. But it's a modding group and not the actual developers, so maybe Oblivion might not get a remake, but we do have a mod to look forward to that should bring this whole Oblivion to life. The second game on our list is probably one that needs less work done. However, I still think it would benefit from having a remaster. Farcry 2. Could you imagine a few extra more textures on the gloves, maybe some better dirt roads, slightly more realistic plant life, and slightly more realistic texture on guns? Overall, this game looks excellent for a game that came out in 2008, but could it do with a 2024 remaster? I think so, but moving on. And for the next game, it's Dead Rising, where you battle zombies. You might not think that this game necessarily needs a remaster, and it looks pretty good as it is. However, for me, it's more about the cinematics. Yes, the cinematics could use with a bit of a touch-up. Like, check out this scene, for example. This scene could use a bit of extra textures on some facial stuff and some clothes. But for me, is this game good and playable? No doubt. This game and most games in the list are. But I think that this game could use a little bit of a touch-up to make it look just that little bit shinier. Anyway, moving on to the next game. Okay, we're getting a bit more into this now, and this is Dragon Age Origins. I love this, but a remastered version could look very nice. Like, for example, take a look at some of these close-up shots of some of these characters. See some of this armor. This game feels excellent, and generally I could play this for the next 10 years and I'd still be very, very happy with it. However, this is one of my favorite games of all times, and I think a fresh coat of paint could only help this game. This game looks excellent, but look at some of the details in this game that you go, yes, that could use a touch-up. I think this game deserves a remaster and would look fantastic. Anyhow, moving on to the next game. And this next game is one about time travel. It's Timeshift, and we don't get a lot of them. Not a lot of time travel video games anyway. And this one allows you to rewind, pause, and slow down time apart from your character particularly, which means you can rewind time, but your character can still move forward. So everything else around him will rewind. Now, that's cool, but as much as I like and I love this idea for a game, some of the textures do look like they've aged just a little bit. And this, with a fresh coat of paint, would look amazing. Whether someone takes on the idea and decides to come out with another version of this type of game, I would love. Or if they just updated the textures, I would also love. Anyway, I think this game needs a remaster, but what do you guys think? Tell me now, and let's move on to the next game. Okay, I know where I stand. This is one of those games for me that no matter how much I play this, I will always enjoy it. There is no doubt about that. And I'm sure most fans will say this game is perfect. It doesn't need an update. This game is as perfect as it is. Don't mess with it. Yes, I agree up to a point, but some of these water textures could be a little bit more realistic, and some of this FPS in this game could be improved. Now, I think this game is very, very nice. I wouldn't change a thing. However, these little tiny little things could look very nice with a remaster, and if one came out, I'd be very, very happy. Anyway, that's my take. What do you guys think? Let's move on to the next game. Final four now, and the next game is Rainbow Six Vegas. I love this game. It's a very team tactical, go in and shoot down the bad guys. You can hide behind corners for cover, plan entry points, and basically save Vegas. And for me, this is where Rainbow Six is at its best. But it's a good game. I really want them to remake or remaster this, because some of these scenes could look really, really nice with a lovely little fresh up. Honestly, this is Rainbow Six Vegas, and I think this is possibly one of the games that really need a remaster or a remake. Anyway, moving on to the next game. Next is Fable 2. Fable 2 is one of those adventure games where you have to save the land of Albion with magic swords and archery. I love this game, but it could definitely do with a remaster. They've already mastered the first game, and with Fable 4 happening, I think this would be the perfect time to refresh some of these graphics to make this lovely and beautiful. However, I think this game definitely deserves something like a remake or a remaster just to make this game come back to life. Anyway, moving on to the next game. The next game is Bully, and it's the next one on our list, and some of these graphics could look a lot better with fresh graphics. Honestly, it's one of Rockstar's more interesting projects, and it's a game where you have to fight against bullying in a Rockstar weird kind of way. But this game is fun, and I think it could benefit with a remaster. Honestly, I love this. But without no further ado, moving on to the final game. And the final game is Gun. It's set in the Wild West. It's an open world, it's a big adventure, horse riding and everything. Anything that you could imagine in a Wild West game. But could it do with a remaster? Yes, this game in 2024 would look fantastic. I love this, and I remember when this game came out, it was one of the best. I absolutely love the game Gun. However, now I want to hear from you. Now it's down to you. What game do you want to remaster? If you could choose any game in the world, and why? Tell me down in the comments down below, and I will see you guys on another Jump Inside video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.